Hello, y'all. So, I have another video uploading already. So, let me see. Yes, it is Monday, February 1st, 2021, and at 12:08 p.m. right now. And the other video is just under 5 minutes, but you know how slow the Wi-Fi is on my phone. It's slower than, on the computer. But I had a moment where I thought was a perfect moment for me to not have to worry about gang stalkers. And the moment I said that, it was a white freaking truck, big white one. And then it was a female hotel neighbor with a red hoodie and purple hair who took off the trash right when I did. And she looked like the type of person who she probably with that purple hair, she's a freaking devil worshiper, and she's that type of person who will probably do drugs or something like that. So I ain't worried about people like her, cause I should feel like that about all the gang stalkers, cause they're all wrongdoers, they're all evildoers, they're all criminals and everything like that. But they act like they think that their deeds are highly righteous because they're narcissistic abusers who are highly narcissistic. Excuse me. So in the middle of the night, like I'm trying to make it a point where I didn't want to be in the up writing all night or all throughout the middle of the night. You know, period, with my short stories, books, ebooks, whatever. But hold on. So I didn't want to be up in the middle all throughout the night writing short stories, but this is the short story idea that I guess I was the night before last. I mean, I couldn't sleep and my anxiety was high. And oh, thank you. And my anxiety was high. I couldn't sleep and my anxiety was high, but I still didn't want to be working on writing the night before, like early in the morning. But I did last night. It was after about. I mean, I've been having the topic, you know, of my the topic of the short story I've been having. Let's see, I've been having the topic of the short story. Lost my train of thought. I've been having the topic of the short story for like about a week or two. But then I started writing probably like 7:30 or 8 o'clock last night. And I was up writing until about 3:30 this morning, a little after 3:30 this morning. And then after that, I went to bed. And I don't recall having any sleep until at least 7 o'clock this morning, or I'm getting that mixed up with the day before. I know the day before I didn't get to fall asleep until 7 o'clock, but this day, like earlier, I don't remember what time I even fell asleep and how many hours of sleep I got, but I know I woke up this morning at just before, like about 10:59 a.m. I woke up and, went to go take out the trash, and then after that came and ate, you know, just ate the last of that little pizza. And so today I'm gonna be eating a lot of, the fruit and vegetables today. I had the pizza and some of the cherry juice, and the last of the what do you call that? Coconut water. My mind ain't here today. But anyway, but the short story that I wrote, it was kind of longer because it took me almost 8 hours to work on this so-called short story, and it was longer than the ones that I had previously written. And then it was kind of like more. I felt a little mildly traumatized by my. I mean, I'm laughing at it now. That I'm feeling like mildly traumatized by what I wrote. But this is the type of disturbing. I just wanted to give y'all a picture of like the disturbing weirdness that could go on in cults. Also mixed in, with New Orleans culture. So even though it's fictional, it's something like say for example, it's like what movies is being like truth in plain sight or something like that. So if you see a movie like Hunger Games and being predictive programming and stuff like that, it's like truth in plain sight. And the sick thing is, it's like we think it's just entertainment and we think it's all, cool and fun, like a cool ass movie or something like that. But this ain't no entertainment right here. But it's fiction, but it's more like educational, but it's not entertainment. And so when I started off writing the story, I went in a totally different direction. Excuse me. I went in a totally different direction from what I originally intended or imagined how the story would go. And I was all excited and everything. Because I could do a conference part 2 or something like that, or another conference. And it kind of, it's like it was more like a conference there, but like the IDMR cult that we were in, Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research, it's like they had us go on like conventions every year, and the cult members were somehow rich enough to be able to afford, those beautiful, expensive ass hotels like Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've been thinking about that hotel a lot lately, and I miss it. I very much miss it, and wish I could have gone and wish I can go again. And now I heard they have an indoor water park and stuff like that. They didn't have it when we were there. But they had a lot of different pools. That place was huge. That place was almost like the closest to heaven that other than being in Costa Rica, and here in America, it was like the closest to heaven that I thought I could get, just the place, but I didn't like what I went through and what I experienced. You never have a good experience with the abusive fake foster mom. But it's like, and also it's something else I was gonna say. I forgot. My mind, it slipped my mind, but yeah, I wanted to say that just like, I'm sorry. Ooh, trying to this little thing on my finger. I didn't mean to do that. So just like the Skid Row in Los Angeles downtown, it's like the closest to hell I mean, other than going through Hurricane Katrina, and I have had some scary and bad experiences too, but Skid Row, Los Angeles was like the closest to hell, or the mental hospital, or jail or prison. The closest to hell that you feel like you can get. But it's like, well, this short story. I mean, I originally my original plan was to be like everybody based in New Orleans go somewhere, something just as good as Opryland or something similar, or maybe if not that, then another resort or something like that, and have the little conference or whatever. But and I even thought about doing a short story on I mean, because it's like I thought about what if I would have done a short story, on the conference. And I was in the shower a few days ago, and I thought about what if I took the direction of us starting make the starting point from New Orleans, and then us get on a tour bus and then go ride and drive all the way to Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's like I would have to go back and watch some YouTube videos of Opryland, in which I saved some. And I thought that, what if I would have liked to relive this experience all over again? But everything's been like updated and new, because I think I heard around 2008 or 2010 or somewhere that because of a flood, the hotel got damaged, but then it got renewed and it got some doggone water park, and they changed the name to Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Resorts or something like that. But it's like I mean, I just remember I love the way the name sounds, Opryland. I love the way that sounds, and I heard about the Grand Old Opry and stuff like that, because I went there in July 1999. Me and my twin sister and the foster mom. I think it was just us three that went there to the fake Mar cult, their convention. And we were supposed to go again our senior year in high school, but the foster mom, tried to make it like we behaved too badly, or we were punished. It was right after we graduated from high school, because the fake IDMR cult conventions are always in the summer, and they will have like Southern Regional Convention, Northern Regional Convention, these different little conventions like every year that were pretty much expensive. And I remember being like 7 years old in second grade. And there was a convention in Houston, Texas. We went to Astroworld, and I think no, we didn't get to go to Waterworld because the foster mom was pretty much against anything water and swimming and stuff. But she let us take swimming lessons. But we would have kept up our swimming. I mean, that would have been great. But she had us go years with no swimming after we were super little and took swimming lessons. When I was a little kid, I used to have a strange mind. My mind is still kind of weird, but it it's like I think I heard that sometimes you might end up with a strange mind as a result of early childhood trauma and quote unquote dissociation or whatever. But I used to have this weird thought about if you go swimming, you'll have sweet feet. Sweet feet. And I used to also have this weird thought about people having shiny toes. on a Saturday. I don't know where those thoughts come from. Weird, strange thoughts, where they come from. I don't know. But also, when I was in first grade, I used to make up nonsensical words and stuff like that. I mean, a first grader. I didn't know many other first grader that was weird like me. But, I used to make up words like mean pink chook chinad, just mean brown, and rata a, and dirty lurpy lurpy, and stuff like that. With the yeah, I mean, dirty lurpy lurpy, rata a, and some other thoughts, but it's just strange, but I didn't realize that was pretty much, as a result of, early childhood trauma and abuse, and then being locked up in small janitorial closets, and, having this weird stuff happening to me when I was younger. And then being a child, they punish the child. They make it like something's wrong with me or I'm weird, and they never question, the abuse that happened to me. Because I heard that with the MK Ultra, the traumas build up amnesia walls in a child's mind. They want to split the child's mind, and they experiment on twins. The MK Ultra experiment on twins mainly. Look up MK Ultra Monarch twinning. So I mean, but it's like I didn't think that I was one of those people, because I don't be walking around with butterfly, the orange and black butterfly prints on my clothes or none of that. So, and the foster mom, she was very sexually repressive and acted like as if she thought she was perfect or whatever, and you couldn't even have another conversation. Like, if you just have a business conversation with somebody of the opposite gender, you'd be called a hoe. But if you talk to somebody that's, of the same gender, having a conversation with them, the foster mom will call you a dyke. So, and that's another way to keep us isolated and talking to nobody. So we weren't allowed to have friends or none of that. Or if we did have friends, everything had to be strictly controlled. And so I mean, I've been studying and reading more about, keeping up with Chris Stokes and the B2K guys, and the females too. All those, the artists that he managed, and the way he treated them. It was like putting a mixture of Chris Stokes and R. Kelly. But the foster mom, she wasn't molesting us or anything like that, but she abused us in any pretty much any other way. But it's like the control and abuse was somewhat like reminiscent of what we went through. And they said Chris Stokes had his own cult, R. Kelly had his own cult, and a harem. So I heard that people like Soulja Boy and Drake have that they own slaves too, and that they have more like a harem, and mess around with underage girls and stuff like that. So it took me almost 20 minutes to try to get to explain about the more like a little background of certain things. I'm sorry, I'm saying when I get like nervous. so nervous and stuff. So, okay, well, I guess it was 3:19 a.m. when I got done and I emailed this to myself. Okay, so this is Timberwood Short Stories Edition, Volume 4, The Conference. Be ready, y'all. Be ready. Some of y'all might be ready. Some of y'all might not be ready. But I don't think any of my supporters had I don't think any of my supporters was able to see the video of me reading a short story called The Remote Control Friend. So that short story, The Remote Control Friend, if you can scroll down on my channel within the past about week or week and a half, excuse me. Like it was last week that I wrote it. About 8 or 9 days ago. It was the same day I wrote the story about Catland. It looked like some people like that one. But The Remote Control Friend, no way in hell. I mean, I think my supporters probably didn't have the chance or the time to read it. I mean, go watch that video. But I'm like, I no way is that story bad enough that I got 5 thumbs down. And I know that got 5 thumbs down because of the perps. And so, if I remember, I'm gonna try to post the link in the description box for the short story The Remote Control Friend, in case y'all missed it. So I mean, it's more for my supporters, because I know it seemed like, as I said, y'all. I mean, that's if y'all want to. Y'all don't have to. But the perps, that's their job, to watch my damn videos. And I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this for y'all, my supporters. These videos and stuff, I do it for y'all. So, but the perps, they just gonna do what they do, and they're gonna have to answer to God and go to hell. So all those damn thumbs down and stuff like that, it's like I'm trying as best as I can to not let it get underneath my skin, So, but it's like it's made to look like as if I'm stupid or crazy. She ain't get the message yet, or I mean, the fact that they'll be like, don't nobody want to watch your videos, but yet you getting paid to watch them, the whole 3-hour ones, obsessively. So you're doing opposite of what you say. So but again, to my supporters, thanks for the support, and thanks for doing whatever you can, or whatever. Thanks for just caring. Thanks for caring, about me and my situation and my hardships and what I'm going through and everything. And this is my road. This is my path to healing. Also along with Bible reading and prayer. And so I know I kind of slacked off with the Bible reading and prayer, recently, but I mean, more so the prayer than the Bible reading, but I need to get back more, working harder at it. So here it goes. Real life. Okay, right. So Timberwood Short Stories Edition, Volume 4, The Conference. Real life, written by Candy Grandpre in late January / early February 2021. But story told as if it happened in late May / early June 2021. Excuse me. And as if I would have, and I would have write it in mid-July 2021. So the story takes place more like in the future, but written as past tense. So like, picture if it's July 2021 right now, and as if May and January and all that was the past, But it's kind of like that. But real life, it's, February 1st today, but I wrote it. Cause it was still, February 1st, early in the morning. I was still writing it, so that's why I put, late January, early February. And so this Timberwood conference, it happened. It won't happen in real life, but it's just a picture, as if it happened from Memorial Day 2021. And I really hate, and they said we will never get to go back to the new normal, so the idea of, the masks, and I mean, who knows what we're gonna be doing like the month of May. I don't know if the new world order will be, if we will be like dead or in FEMA camps, or if they have more lockdowns or more war, what would be going on? But I just wrote this story like as if it was in the future or something. So, all right, so Nola Borderline is my character in the short story series, plus the big fiction book. Plus, I'm the narrator, but not exactly the main character. So, Nola is my character in the book, and Nola is the narrator. So, here we go. You ready? You ready to be psychologically and mentally disturbed in the head? Or you ain't gonna be entertained. You might laugh some, but or you might be like, wow. You might think it's some kind of suspense or something like that, but you just never know. So here we go, for real. There was a meeting inside the gym of one of the Timberwood cult locations on a Tuesday evening. Kind of reminds me of a grade school assembly. You know how in a PE, like the gym, or like they would have an assembly in the gym or the cafeteria in school, like first, second, third grade, maybe high school or something. And everyone was making plans for an upcoming spring conference during Memorial Day weekend. The Timberwood cult leaders brainstormed ideas of recreational and leisure activities to do, for the sake of the kids and adults too. They were planning out itineraries and schedules of certain activities to do. New Orleans is the author whose hometown, New Orleans is the author who's Candy Grandpre, New Orleans is the author's hometown in real life. Also the narrators, who's Nola Borderline. Borderline, I think, is like a Cajun French last name. And Nola's, Nola, New Orleans, Nola, Nola. And so I was debating on whether or not I was going to call the character Nola or Nolia. Because you know how they had New Orleans and the Magnolia Project, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm from the Nolia, you hear me? Yeah. But those projects like the Melpomene and Magnolia projects and Calliope and all that. Well, I didn't even grow up around there. But, that's my hometown, like my city, New Orleans. So I'm almost repping my city, baby. So, but people love it when New Orleans people say, baby. So, yeah, so Nola is also a character in the story. The narrator is a character in the story, yeah. So, yeah, I emphasize that. Just to double emphasize to make it clear to y'all, Some of the members protested that it didn't make sense. That it didn't make any sense for the leaders to make a rule that since we were in New Orleans, which was a lot of the members' hometown, including mine, everyone had to go to this mandatory conference and book or pay for their own hotel rooms in various places near the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. Excuse me. I guess if y'all read the story, it'll be without interruption. So I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. The leader said that this is to ensure that everyone makes the conference meetings on time. If you have to be somewhere at 10 a.m. sharp and you make it exactly on time, they call it Timberwood time. It reminds me of when you're 20 minutes late in Costa Rica, they call it Tico time. They penalize you for being late, like Timberwood, they penalize you for being late, but gave huge incentives for the obedient ones. They had everyone to pick which hotels we wanted to stay in and write our names on a list on a sheet of paper going around. But I, Nola Borderline, had a problem. I'm homeless with nowhere to go. When Mr. Earl Price, Teresa's dad, asked, any questions? Like any questions? Like any questions? Like any questions? And so I got yelled at, excuse me, for trying to ask what to do about me being homeless on the streets with nowhere to go. I was scared. I was banned from nearly all the hotels on Canal Street. The author was, Candy Grandpre was in real life too. No more like banned from 2 or 3 hotels for trying to ask to use the bathroom. When I was homeless on the streets living in New Orleans. So, So the author, Candy Grandpre, is actually homeless. Y'all know my situation. Tiffany's cousin, Jessica, said, girl, we got you. Because no way in hell could I afford to pay for a hotel room for a week with a little above $800 a month. SSI and Social Security. Now I get $814 a month. And since I was in the IHM program, in-house monitoring program, my workers or handlers weren't allowed to pay for anything for me. Tashika, Christina's half-sister, is one of the cult favorites and one of the handlers. She knows how to network. Network. And how to slick talk. She's very buddy-buddy with both Jessica and Teresa. Tashika took the initiative to go and ask Mr. Earl about my situation. And, of course, he wasn't going to yell at or be mean to her. And he said that it was okay, that he would make an exception for the sake of the event. He asked in his southern black Mississippi country accent, like his southern black Mississippi country accent, like he said, "Who's gonna pipe?" And he talked with talked with a lisp. I should have emphasized that in the short story. He talked with his tongue, talked with a lisp. Who's gonna pay for it? Like, who's gonna pay for it? Tashika said, me. Then he said, "Now it'll be unfair to pay for her and nobody else in the IHM program." Let me translate that. Now, it would be unfair to pay for her and nobody else in the IHM program. Some of those Timberwood folks got a lot of money and others are dirt poor. You're either or. They have a handful. They only have a handful of people in the middle. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. Jessica was trying to ask me which hotel I want to stay at. I selected the Hampton Inn downtown French Quarter area at 226 Carondelet Street in New Orleans, right on the St. Charles streetcar line. Sucks that they didn't have a pool, but they had free Wi-Fi, fitness room, and breakfast. But at least we were supposed to have gone swimming elsewhere until plans got ruined by a bunch of dummies. Yeah, because in the Timberwood cult, the fiction story, it's everything good that goes, it's always some setback, setup, or distraction. Reminds me of a target individual in life that you can't really have anything good or go well or anything perfect. It's always something that's, get messed up. They want to make sure everything is ruined. Bastards. But anyway, people call Rudolph Keebler retarded, but he's actually smart as hell. It was Rudolph's idea to ask people to pitch in donations to raise for food, transportation, recreation, and an additional personal splurge allowance of $250 each for the poor and or disabled IHM clients. Well, in the big fiction book, that wouldn't have been allowed. That I'm working on right now. Also for the uniforms. Generous, huh? If Mr. Russell was still alive, he'd say no, but Mr. Earl, the new and current CEO / top leader of Timberwood, normally would say no as well. But because he made the rule of everyone having to stay in hotels, that's why he made that exception. So he approved of the suggestions. Hey, he's the one who made everything difficult for everyone. People could have easily stayed at the homes of some of these New Orleanians. Isn't that what New Orleans hospitality is for? Numerous people from across the world associated with this Timberwood cult came to travel to New Orleans for this long-awaited week-long conference. Some of the New Orleans natives during the conference week, actually 8 days, would sneak off away from their paid-for hotel rooms and go invite tourist guests to their homes without the leader's knowledge. To me, I laugh at the idea of the cult members like rebelling when they feel like it, especially if they sneak and rebel and don't get in trouble or don't get caught. So, they would cook and have parties every night at their private homes until the cult leaders performed the nightly hotel room checks with the curfews. Curfew was 10 p.m. and room checks was at 10:15. The leaders required everyone to get a good night's sleep so that everyone can be there at the convention center on time. They wanted everyone there 2 hours before each workshop or meeting. Also, they wanted meet and greets and people familiarizing themselves with other cult members. The day came where it was day one of the conference, which was the following Tuesday after the initial meeting. The conference ended the Wednesday after Memorial Day, 2 days later. On day one, everyone had to meet up at Timberwood headquarters at 4 in the morning sharp. Miss Jackie, Tori's sister, who was usually one of the van drivers, was assigned to drive one of the Timberwood tour buses. She would always wear sunglasses driving those vans. Strangely, she didn't wear any glasses to drive the tour bus. She usually alternates between sunglasses and eyeglasses. People used to make fun of her about the wearing sunglasses and driving a van all the time. Tashika was also one of the tour bus drivers, and all the pervy, flirty men tried to tell her that she looked sexy driving a tour bus. The women and men glorified her as one of the best drivers, and she was the youngest. All the other drivers were older. Miss Jackie was mean, and unfortunately, I was forced to ride on her tour bus. They had 20 tour buses to drive us straight to the convention center, and the first conference workshop was at 9 a.m. We had to walk so long. A lot of walking in that convention center, shaking my head. So we all had to go, we had to go all the way to the end. I think they said that the convention center in New Orleans, I think they say it's like 2 miles long or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but that is a big place, a very big place. I think they say it's about 2 miles long. I could be wrong though. Well, it take a long time to walk from beginning to end. If not 22 miles, I don't remember how long, but it's a big place, a really big place. But I used to work in real life. I used to work temp service. Not all that much, but I, you know, actually worked there, long enough to get to, you know, learn my way around that big ass place in real life. So let me get back to the story. So we had to go all the way to the end, go all the way down to the big ballroom, that room where they usually do the big Thanksgiving dinners, the La Nouvelle Orleans ballroom. I don't know if I pronounced that right. La Nouvelle Orleans ballroom. All three sections were used every day of the ballroom. All three sections were used every day on the days that we had conference workshops. They gave us free time off for the Memorial Day 3-day weekend. We weren't allowed to wander alone, and the buddy system was enforced. Also, those fake stupid masks, social distancing, etc. were required. That's why they had so many tour buses and multiple trips. Otherwise, they would have used 10 buses. Many members broke a lot of the rules and just didn't care. Some of the members of many races, nationalities, and skin colors, acted like house Negro snitches. So, you had to watch it back and kind of be careful what clique or whatever you hung around. Because you ain't going to be friends with somebody that going to, rat on you or snitch you out and stuff like that. And that's one thing in certain cults or groups, no matter how big or small. And that's also one of the things that the reason why people like me and my twin sister couldn't get along, and the same thing with the foster sister Joni. Like the spy and snitch. Of course, being a child, you didn't really know those agendas. And, Joni still hate me till this day. And other people still hate me till this day because, well, both me and my twin sister were known as that little snitch, or the one who used to tell on people. But my twin sister, she used to freaking lie on people. But we didn't know any better. We were little, But she still lie on people nowadays. But, and I remember reading about the B2K guys being forced to, spy and snitch on each other as well. And, I heard that Janae had went and, y'all know Janae Aiko Chilambo. Well, I heard that she went and snitched on Quentin Tarver when he tried to confide in her and tell her. And was it Quentin? No, I think it was Quentin and not Ricky Romance. It was Quentin Tarver. and she went to go snitch to Chris Stokes about what he said when he tried to tell her, what Chris Stokes was doing to her. Don't you hate when people do that? When you try to confide in them to tell them something, and they expect you to be supportive of them, and then you go run and go back and tell. Well, they used to say that I did that when I was younger. But in my sophomore year in high school, the teacher, Miss Valbuena, after she got hateful and turned against me, after the foster mom poisoned her head against me, because Miss Valbuena used to be like my favorite teacher, one of my favorite teachers, and she used to love me. And so the Spanish teacher. And so Miss Valbuena said, well, Candy, you and Brandy, y'all have a reputation for being a tattletales. Well, damn, the kids used to bully us in school. So how the hell are we supposed if you hit me upside in the back of the head with an object that caused me to have a headache all day long, that happened in 8th grade. How am I supposed to not tell? So I know that's a different topic, but let me finish, continue with this. I just want to show you kind of like an example. So anyway, with the snitching and stuff, the cult snitching. I'm not sure if there was cult snitching going on in the IDMR cult, Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research, the religious cult that we grew up in. But I'm not sure if there was spying and snitching going on there, but they wanted to keep you, fear and obedience and stuff. But I heard about other cults, spying and snitching. And, spying and snitching in Hollywood is in the entertainment industry as well. Like what I just described with Chris Stokes and, whatever artist he had, B2K, the other groups and stuff. So at 9 a.m., everyone was applauded for making the first workshop on time. As a result, we all got free Creole cuisine gift cards, a generous $30 worth. The first day was only one workshop that was 6 hours long with a 2-hour lunch break included, so 4 hours. And then everyone retired to their hotel rooms at 3 p.m., which is the standard hotel room check-in, that time of standard hotel room check-in. Sometimes 3 or 4 o'clock. Sometimes to be lenient, they might let you in at 2. But every hotel, you always got to leave at 11 a.m. to check out any hotel or motel you go to. The first workshop, it was cold in that big ballroom. Whoa, I'm coming. Oh, I accidentally clicked out. It was cold in that ballroom. It was cold, so the first workshop, it was cold in that big ballroom. So the cult leaders made us do a socially distanced meet and greet before 9, and then after 9, the meeting started. They decided to make us do some exercise for 2 hours. Yeah, since it was so cold, they made us exercise, in the short story. Some of us were obese and out of shape. So from 9 to 11, excuse me, they made everyone jog in a big circle for 2 hours. Yes, 2 hours. They gave us plenty of ice cold water to drink. They would whistle to us whenever they wanted to make us start or stop. Following orders on command. Those kind of therapy and exercise, whatever. Mind control. Obey on command. Excuse me. So they would whistle to us whenever they would, the blow the whistle like, whenever they wanted to make us start or stop. They did this for 2 hours. Seems like they made us start and stop every 10 minutes. Start for 10 minutes, take a break for another 10, and then start again, stop again, according to the commands of the blowing whistles. Reminds me of senseless cult mind control repetition. We could jog at our own pace, but during jogging time, we weren't allowed to take a break unless to stop and drink water. During the 10-minute break intervals, that's when we were allowed to sit down and rest. 11 came around and they told us to save the gift cards for dinner later on that evening. They instructed us to go to the Riverwalk and have a lunch break, but be back at 1 p.m. sharp. They weren't playing. Excuse me. They expected us to eat strictly at the Riverwalk food court. In the midst of that big crowd, Jessica found me. In the midst of that big crowd, Jessica found me, and she told me what the plan was. She had me hang out with her according to the buddy system. Excuse me. She hung out with a lot of other people. Excuse me. Ooh. Excuse me. She hung out with a lot of other people. I was the awkward, weird loner. I'm the awkward, weird loner in real life too. Candy Grandpre. I'm surprised that she was cool and nice. Tashika is a narcissistic abuser who is highly narcissistic. She told Jessica to not let me wander off and disappear out of her sight. Jessica was super nice. She had a wild side though. She asked me which place in the Riverwalk I wanted to go eat at. And she told me, girl, I got you. She still had that pre-Katrina leniency about herself. Being lenient and cool and laid back. But see, in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21 now, New Orleans people act like the fake LA people. Want to act like the fake sellout mentality. And want to act like they think they're all strict and want to go according to the rules, because people were lenient back then and used to break rules and be cool back in the 90s and before Katrina and everything. I remember those days. It was the West Bank people in New Orleans who wanted to be all fake and pretend to be self-righteous and strict and all that and think they're better. And act like self-righteous narcissistic abusers. But New Orleans, even though it was high murder and gay capital, murder capital, voodoo capital, but in New Orleans, people used to give you like extra free stuff, and they didn't care that they would go take the risk of getting in trouble by their boss if you go to McDonald's and they want to sneak in a free apple pie. If they want to sneak in an extra hamburger or an extra thing of fries. So, but now it seems like in New Orleans nowadays, people would be the type to go strictly by the rules. But then they break the rules themselves, but then want to be strict on you. So New Orleans people like, this ain't my city. What the hell happened? I said New Orleans sold out after Katrina. People ain't the same no more. So many house Negroes in New Orleans nowadays. But back to the story. So Jessica said, girl, I got you. She still had the pre-Katrina leniency about herself. She told me to keep the $250 extra spending money. Our workers aren't allowed to spend money on us, remember? She asked me if I wanted to eat Raisin Canes. I said, no, thank you. I told her that I wanted Mandarin Express. She was like, girl, don't be shy. Ain't nobody looking. Let me spoil you. Because some New Orleans people, black or Creole, say spoil instead of spoil. So she said, girl, don't be shy. Ain't nobody looking. Let me spoil you. Not let me spoil you, but let me spoil you. So, not all New Orleans people talk like that, but and I saw a little small documentary about how New Orleans accents, for it to be one major region, it's like people speak in different dialects of certain different areas. like somebody in the seventh ward would talk different from how somebody uptown would talk, you know, or somebody in Harvey might talk different from people in Terrytown. You know, it's kind of weird, but wherever we all know, you know. So New Orleans people, they say, "You heard me?" Like the guys who delusionally believe they're a thug, they be like, "Yeah, you heard me." Like, yes, you heard me. You're like, yeah, you heard me. Like, yeah, you heard me. Yeah, they talk exactly like that. Yeah, babe. And the female be like, yeah, babe, instead of yeah, baby. Now, even if some of the men be like, good looking out, babe. All right, have a good one. Not like have a good one, it's like have a good one. All right, babe. So I wanted to go crazy and get me some Cafe Du Monde beignets, Smoothie King, and Haagen-Dazs, in addition to the Chinese food, but I didn't have the space in my belly or the time for that because, you know, being on limited time constraints, and then we had to go walk all the way to the end, you know, that convention, and we were doing some walking up in that short story, you know, walking from the Riverwalk to the walking from the Riverwalk to the all the way to the doggone end of the convention center, close to where they had the I forgot what the name of that Mardi Gras world or somewhere around, like right by there. And I think Kern Studios is around, you know, like the end of the convention center, close to where used to be, I think, the St. Thomas Projects, and then it was that place had been gentrified, and it's like a beautiful, nice area now. Um, on the other side of the convention center, not by like the opposite side, like the other side, not by the side by Canal Street and stuff like that. So, oh, with this short story right here, I'm gonna have to put New Orleans in the hashtag so maybe New Orleans people could relate, or they could see it. Oh, I just look just like the biological mom Francis when I smiled just now. But anyway, rest in peace, mother. So anyway, yeah. So I didn't have the time and space in my belly or the time for that. Excuse me. See, my nose, everything was clear. My throat and everything seemed clear, and then once I start the video, that's when I start. So forgive me. I'm sorry for snooting and snorting and doing clearing my throat and everything. That's like when I start a video, that's when they try to force me to yawn, like they trying to make me do now. Excuse me. They must be monitoring and watching me while I'm reading this. Okay, so plus I wanted to be careful about the sin of gluttony. Excuse me, y'all. I don't mean to do this. I even hate when I do it. Plus, I wanted to be careful about the sin of gluttony, and I also didn't want people calling me greedy. You know, greedy. I wanted Haagen-Dazs so badly. So I settled with the Chinese food and ice cream. I feared that I was greedy already. Jessica didn't mind. I didn't take advantage of that opportunity to go overboard. I didn't. Well, in the short story, I didn't. And in real life, I wouldn't have either. Because now I'd be scared. You know, I hate that miserable feeling in your stomach. You know, the miserable feeling in your stomach when you ate too much. I hate that feeling. But when I was on those psych medications, you know, it was difficult for me to get full. I'm talking about psych meds in real life, not in the short story. But so I also was scared to be thought of thought of by God as being covetous. Tashika called me greedy and lectured me anyway. Hold on. Ooh. Excuse me. Yeah. I got the smaller plate of food and one scoop of ice cream and still got called greedy. I told Christina about it and she softly whispered, "I'm sorry, Nola. I'm sorry, Nola," but she said, "I'm sorry, Nola." I was feeling panicky and kept asking people for reassurance on whether or not I was really being greedy. Everybody called everybody greedy during the Timberwood cult group meals. Shaking my head. At first, I thought Jessica was trying to hit on me, but she knows she's. Oh, I have to go back and edit it because I didn't say now. I said not. That she knows she's not allowed. She knows that she's not allowed to do anything sexual with me. See, that must have been the stupid wear that the gang stalking exposer was talking about. I was trying to say she's not now. I was trying to say she is not allowed to do anything sexual with me because of the IHM program rules. Come to find out, I'm glad she didn't sexually want me. She's just cool, but she's bisexual like a lot of, but not all Timberwood cult members. I'm heterosexual. 1 p.m. came by, and the other half of the workshop consisted of us being forced to do light yoga and progressive muscle relaxation since we just got done eating. I was against it because it's evil, satanic, and new age. They forced me to participate anyway. They forced us to run earlier with a mask. Wait, hold on. Oh. They forced us to run earlier with a mask on, and now forced us to do all this with a mask. I told them that I can't breathe with a mask. Everyone else was compliant and obedient without complaining. It was made to look like I was the only crazy fool to create trouble. Everyone wanted me to shut up, stop arguing back, and follow the rules. And they thought I was just trying to hold everybody up. The leaders kept threatening to put me in their secret prison, telling me that the prison was worse. Excuse me. They kept trying to guilt trip me into being grateful for this experience and a temporary paid for roof over my head, food, showers, etc. And they forced me, before going to the hotel, to go to Walgreens on Canal Street after the workshop with a mask on and buy a notebook and pen and write 10 things a day that I was grateful for on the trip. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Y'all, my nose was clear before I started doing the video. And then just before I went to blow my nose and everything, excuse me, we finally got to our hotel rooms and I had the bed next to the window and Jessica had the bed next to the bathroom. Tashika was in our room a lot because she was Jessica's friend. Tashika was in a different and more expensive, fancier hotel. Tashika was keeping tabs on me to make sure I was writing the 10 things I'm grateful for. Then I took a nap. They purposely put us in room 609. So, dinner came and me, Jessica, Tashika, and the clique ate at Cafe Maspero using a gift card. I didn't want to go there because in real life, back in 2003, Candy Grandpre got robbed by two trannies there. the tranny that called himself Nikita the Dick Eater, and the other tranny named Eli. I've been writing about them in my homeless nonfiction book. My personal experiences with that. So I'm wondering if they sent me there to perp me there, perp me there. You know, why you didn't choose the other restaurants on the list? Why you gonna choose Cafe Maspero's where I had a past bad experience? So but Cafe Maspero in New Orleans, go there. It's some good food over there. I don't even remember what I had, but I just remember the food was really, really good. But that's a whole different video to talk about, what happened with the tranny Nikita the Dick Eater, and the other tranny Eli. And they were both guys transgender to female. But hold on. So we had to walk over there. After dinner, we walked around more like up and down Canal Street. We're natives, so we knew better than to go in the French Quarter or on Bourbon Street. So many men were trying to hit on Tashika left and right because she's attractive, attractive, young, and light-skinned and mixed. Jessica was light-skinned and mixed too, but she was overweight with short hair. Jessica was, light-skinned and mixed, but not really attractive. Jessica was in her mid-40s and Tashika was 31. Still on that young side. I got yelled at by one of the white male cult leaders for having a conversation with a dark-skinned black female. I was trying to pass out flyers of my homemade Christian gospel tracts. See, I put my personal experiences and weaving it into, these fiction short stories. Sometimes I'm pretty sure other authors do the same. Not in every story, but some of them. I didn't know what I did wrong. I got yelled at for talking to that dark-skinned girl. He yelled at me and emphasized dark-skinned. Well, shucks, they have some dark-skinned people in the Timberwood cult. They just got treated worse. But, alright, so Timberwood had been heavily rumored to be racist, but cover up by being color-struck so as to make their racism less obvious. It's a sad fact that New Orleans culture and other environments in certain cities, states, and countries, and for example, the Hollywood entertainment industry, so many black people had to face colorism. Favoritism in New Orleans toward the light-skinned, pretty, mixed Creoles. This also ties into the New World Order Illuminati eugenics. So, can't y'all believe the skin color I am? They have, had a few people who try to call me dark skin. I'm actually in between light brown and medium brown skin. Of course, when I was a little kid, I used to be lighter. A lot of little kids are. Their skin color is lighter, and then they sometimes get darker when they get older. But then I sometimes see the reverse as well, because sometimes their features change. Like the color of my eyes, I didn't realize that they start to kind of change a little bit too. Because now it's not until after I was like 32, 33, 34 years old, getting a little older. And now my eyes have lightened up some and starting to have like a grayish blend in my eyes like the biological mom Frances. But before then, I thought they were always like dark brown. And so I've seen people's hair texture change over the years, or skin color, eye color. If you wonder how somebody naturally, their features might change if they were 10 years old and had blue eyes, and then they get a little older, and then you wonder how their eyes so brown, dark brown. and stuff like that. I've seen people who's like the complexion of white people when they're 5, but then by the time they're 10 or 11, they're like very, very dark. But it's like a lot of the features. I mean, I've seen in New Orleans Creoles where a person's hair will be like straight and silky like white people one day, and then the next day you wonder how their hair is like, seems like it's, you know, coarse or something like that. I know my hair texture seems like it just, won't act right some days, and other days, I'm talking about when I was younger and my hair was longer and stuff like that. The idea of having bad hair day. But I noticed that with the Creoles, like certain people's features change, ever changing. If your hair would be, you know, coarse or quote unquote nappy one day, and then the next day it's all slick and silky as hell. But, you know, that's a different topic. But let me finish with the story. And it was not my intent to offend anyone at all. You can't even, mention skin color, race, or features or anything without people taking to offense or taking you the wrong way. You know, so the people in the Timberwood cult, the fiction story, they're weird. Because cult people in general are weird. I mean, the fake IDMR cult that we grew up in, I thought everything was normal. And then thinking back years later, you wonder how weird everybody was. Like, for example, that lady, Miss Darryl Jones from the fake IDMR cult, she tried to say one day, she was trying to say, picture if I'm a man and I get you pregnant with the Holy Spirit. Because they believe that if a woman gets saved in a cult, then spiritually she becomes a man. So talking about being a man, herself being a man, and then get you pregnant with the Holy Spirit. I was about 7. Was I in my senior year in high school? I was in high school, and she said something like that, and I wanted to break out my chair and run, and never, and I was like, what the hell kind of weirdness is? I told you, cult people be weird. So anyway, many of the guys walking down Canal Street kept asking for Tashika's phone number and wanting to hook up. She was like, she self-righteously said, nah, I'm trying to be a good girl tonight. Remember I said that in the other short fiction story about the fruit fest? Nah, I'm trying to be a good girl tonight. She said, plus I'm tired. Jessica was kind of mad because she didn't get to go out and drink like she wanted to. Timberwood demanded that we stay sober and alcohol/drug free at all times, and also refrain from smoking anything like weed, cigarettes, anything. Men were trying to hit on Jessica too. I'm brown skinned, ugly, and fat with short hair. They don't want me. But don't take that the wrong way, but they have people of all shades that are pretty and cute, and shucks, I've seen some ugly and light skinned people. I'll tell you an ugly and light skinned person. Shucks, my niece hell face ugly Monica. But in her narcissistic head, she delusionally believes she's the cutest person in the world with her donkey mouth. So anyway, I'm brown skinned, ugly, and fat with short hair. That's my description in real life. You're ugly. Yeah, I'm ugly. None of the men were interested in me. I had a silent crush on many of the men in Timberwood. They wanted, the Timberwood cult leaders wanted just about everyone to look hot and attractive according to the standards of the leaders. It was 9:47 p.m. and we all panicked and rushed to our rooms. We beat curfew by 2 minutes. So it was, 9:58, 2 minutes before 10 o'clock by the time we got in the hotel room. Then there was room check time. Folks didn't care who they snuck into their rooms after hours. One of the rules was that we weren't allowed to have any children who didn't belong to us in our rooms. Also, no people of the opposite gender and no people outside of Timberwood inside of our hotel rooms. Because they had guests at whatever hotels that weren't affiliated or associated with Timberwood. So they weren't allowed in our rooms. Jessica didn't care. She was sneaking men in our room who weren't from Timberwood. I told you she was wild. Some Timberwood cult members said that if they paid for the room with their own money, then they should be free to let whatever guests they wanted. Wait, I need to go back and edit that. I was trying to say be free to let in whatever guests they wanted. But the leaders didn't feel that way. They had silly, nonsensical rules of control just like other cults. I usually suffer sleep deprivation. In real life, y'all know I do. But the character does too. Nola. But I was surprised that I was able to nod off quickly. Maybe it was because of the food that I ate. Jessica waited until after it was confirmed that I was asleep to sneak a guy in. She hurried up and nicely kicked him out by 5 a.m. before 6 a.m. wake-up call. Day 2, on Wednesday, May 26, 2021, supposedly lunar, there's supposed to be a lunar eclipse that day. I looked it up. We got to rest a little longer. We ate breakfast and we had an afternoon workshop from 2 to 6 p.m. That way we could eat lunch before. Tashika demanded today and yesterday's 10 things I'm grateful for list. She yelled at me for not having yesterday's but not today's. Shucks, the day just started. They singled me out and looked for just any and every excuse to punish me. Afternoon workshop. They made us do the silly assignment or game where we were forced with a mask over our noses and mouths, plus blindfolded, to walk and wander around the ballroom while loud hypnotizing music was playing. They had us start off in a socially distanced circle and then wander off. The music hurt my hypersensitive ears. It sounded like some demonic metal music. Nobody in the Timberwood cult really listens to that. And they made us do this for 30 minutes and then keep track of and count how many times we bumped into each other. None of us had an accurate count of how many times we bumped into each other. After 2:30, we had an hour-long discussion where certain people volunteered to tell their experience and what lesson they learned. Also, how many times they think they counted that they bumped into another person. Yeah, because, come on. Being hypnotized like that and then expected to remember accurately how many times you bumped into, that was like an unrealistic expectation. So, everybody had their mask on and blindfolded. I'm sitting here picturing it if everybody was forced to, hand sanitize their hands and, everybody blindfolded and boom, accidentally bumped into, and that was well, you get the kind of mind controlling thing that they're doing in these workshops. these workshop meetings or whatever. Wow, it's like people from other parts of the country, the other parts of the world, come travel to New Orleans just for this. Spend all their hard-earned money. So at 3:30, they forced us to visualize ourselves resting our foreheads on invisible baseball bats and then close our eyes and spin around as fast as we could like Dizzy Izzy. And they had us do this for 15 minutes. My clumsy ass accidentally bumped into a Pakistani elderly woman and she fell. I got chewed out big time. I got chewed out big time and falsely accused of doing it on purpose because I didn't want to be there. I wasn't allowed to try to convince them otherwise. It was purely unexpected and unintentional. I didn't even know the lady was there. Plus, we were all freaking after doing all that spinning around. Well, yeah, like spinning around as fast as we could and then be dizzy, like boom. And I'm pretty sure, like, I could imagine if other people accidentally bumped into other people too. But because she fell, you know, yeah, they falsely assumed I did it on purpose. I can picture stuff like this happening in real life to me. Me being singled out and treated a certain kind of way. You know how it is with this targeting. At 4 p.m., they forced us to sit across from someone and try our best to draw in color or paint a picture of the face of the person. And the person across draw, color, or paint us. Then we had to draw, color, and paint another picture of how we wish that person looked. Yeah, in real life, I suck at art. After that, everyone chilled out until 6 p.m. At 6, we had to hurry up and go to our hotel room, shower, put on dress clothes, etc., and then get ready to come back to the convention center for the socially distanced buffet-style lunar eclipse dinner banquet. That was some really good catered food. They spoiled us. They had jambalaya, gumbo, fried oysters, crawfish, crab legs, and a big roasted pig. Cornbread, collard greens, alligator meat, corn on the cob, mashed potatoes and gravy, salad, vegetable casserole, more mixed vegetables, macaroni and cheese, King's Hawaiian bread rolls, red beans and rice, beignets, ice cream, brownies, cookies, cake, spaghetti, and meatballs, tacos, hot dogs, hamburgers, and a choice of water, tea, lemonade, and / or grape punch. Lemonade and a grape punch, represent Timberwood's colors of, same as LA Lakers colors and same as like LA Lakers colors and the LSU Tigers. I love those colors so much. The purple and gold. But Timberwood's mascot was the Timberwood Jaguars if they would ever have a freaking basketball team or any sports. But it's like the Jaguar symbol. Come to think of it, symbolizing MK Ultra sex kitten programming. Wow. Because I heard about Whitney Houston would run around saying, "I'm a cougar, bitch." And I remember reading that Mind Control Black Assassins blog website. And they said Whitney Houston, before she died, she would run around and tell people, "I'm a cougar, bitch." And that would, signify her MK Ultra sex kitten programming and stuff. So, wow, I didn't even think about that. So, they had food everywhere. Again, at group functions involving food, the old tired ass, everybody calling everybody greedy. Before the banquet ended, to mock and gang stalk or perp me, they had 10 people volunteer to stand up to tell everyone 10 things that happened for the day that they were grateful for. Then we all went into our rooms. This time we got in our rooms by 10:08 p.m. But we didn't get in trouble because it was before the curfew roll call of the night. Got around to us. Day 3. I woke up the next morning and Theron's unfaithful cheating ass was in the room, hanging out with Tashika and Jessica, doing who knows what. His wife Christina knew about him cheating. The cult doesn't allow divorce unless they authorize it. This day's conference was a mixture of both a health fair and a job fair from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. This was also mandatory for the current members. The health fair preyed on the disabled, poor, and or homeless, the elderly, etc. Their job fair consisted of non-Timberwood people being recruited for different slave positions in the cult. They also had military recruiters for all branches there, plus also booths or tables of both, the Order of the Eastern Star and / or Freemasonry recruitment. They even had a booth for gang stalking recruitment, surveillance role players. Yeah, I ain't stupid. So many people didn't know the truth and were blinded by the money and illusion of perks. I say illusion because anything you get is controlled, including the money that you make. You're not free to buy whatever house you want. The leaders control how you dress, how you wear your hair, who you date, etc. And the leaders have control over your bank account, so they can come at any time to wipe out all your money, to wipe all of your money out. Even if you knew and didn't know before you broke one of their inconsistent, ever-changing, and secret, unwritten / unspoken rules. The fair also had what seemed like leftover food from the banquet from the night before, but the non-Timberwood attendees or potential recruits wouldn't know the difference. They even had us already members to dress for success. Then after that, bedtime. Day 4, Friday. At the convention center in the ballroom, there was a 3-hour mental health workshop from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Everyone was forced to listen to a presentation about mental health, psychiatric brainwashing. The presentation manipulated everyone to think that they have a mental problem if they tried to disobey or leave the Timberwood cult. Excuse me. Look up Drapetomania, runaway slave. Also, trying to leave the somewhat militarized Timberwood cult, you're treated like how actual military people get treated when they go AWOL. After that, they had us eat whatever food vending at the convention center. We weren't allowed to leave the building. Then there was a 2-hour lunch break from 1 to 5 p.m. They had us take turns talking about what we liked about the trip so far, how we can improve for the next year, if there's a next year, etc., and our plans for the weekend. They told us that they better not catch anyone, natives going back to their houses, or anyone else going out of town during the 3-day Memorial Day weekend. Some people secretly were planning anyway to sneak off to Pensacola to the beach, or locals or natives in the cult have parties. To have parties at their houses. And some people took that risk and did it anyway, behind the leaders' backs. They were smart enough to just make it back to their hotel rooms by 10 o'clock every night. From 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., there was a mandatory dance. Excuse me. You ever heard of a mandatory party? You ever, something that's fun, it's supposed to be fun, but you really don't want to go, but they want to make you go? I remember I was dealing with the fake casual mental health in Los Angeles, and they tried to make me go on this mandatory field trip or this mandatory picnic or whatever. Well, I ended up not going. But anyway, So from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., there was a mandatory dance to go to. Professional pictures and everything. Like high school in the 90s. Reminiscent of our high school dances back in the 90s. Except for no DJ Jubilee. Google him. He worked at the author's high school. Yeah, he worked at my high school. I'm starting to get all this spam on my YouTube videos from Russian, like Russian names. Spam on my YouTube videos talking about hot girls online, or crazy sexy teens online and shit like that. Hey, I don't mean to be off topic, but just that quickly. I mean, right quick. I also would see an ad on my YouTube about a girl doing the M word, and I'm like, how does YouTube allow that? And the girl was wearing a red shirt and like blue shorts, and you get what I mean, the M word, right? The M word, MAST. You get what I'm trying to say, right? And so YouTube allowed those ads. But anyway, so so except for Jubilee, no DJ Jubilee. Google him. He worked at the author's high school, West Jefferson High School, and the music was mainly today's mindless trash. I don't see how people were jamming to it and loving it. Strategically, they only threw in one song from the 60s, one from the 70s, and then one from the 80s, one from the 90s, one from the 2000s, etc. Y'all get it. And then the rest, today's mumble rap nonsense. Whoever's out there today, excuse me, with the 30-minute kids talent show. Whoever won got a free cruise to Jamaica for their whole family. And also sporadically throughout the dance event, there were raffle tickets for the adults for 3 prizes. One raffle ticket was a free week of paid vacation for whichever employee who won. And that one, was for the employees only. And the other 2 were from anybody. The second was a pair of expensive, fancy, unisex winter boots. And the third was a gift certificate for a spa treatment. Guess what? There was more leftover food from that banquet. And at the dance, there was more leftover food from the banquet 2 days before. And then when the people got mad because all the food ran out. So I guess they were finishing all the leftover food from a couple of days ago. Some people in the cult got mad and acting like fake wannabe gangsters and thugs, and they tried to get ghetto and make a big scene and fight each other over the last of the food. But this was all planned and no accident. All for a problem reaction solution attempt by the leaders to punish and control the members even more, while kicking back and laughing at the excrement show, while more like the shit show. I mean, the food was good, but come on. Y'all have the money to go by the hundreds of nearby restaurants to get fresh food. Why is everyone fighting over free leftovers? It's leftovers. It's like a couple of days old and y'all fighting over that. Y'all rich and driving around nice cars and everything. Why you want to fight over some doggone food? You're going to fight over the doggone roasted pig. I'm feeling bad because I hope y'all don't take to offense. There's anything in the story. It's not intended for anybody to take to offense. So I apologize in advance. I apologize. But this is how the world is, and this is how things can go. Like what if scenarios about things that can go down in cults. and stuff. Like, that's what I'm trying to illustrate. And gang stalking being involved in it too. And the mind control and everything like that. I mean, so the argument got bad enough, the argument over the food got bad enough that the people in the cult were talking about meeting outside. They went close by the area where the aquarium was to go over there and fight. It was a big, nasty brawl. They didn't even care if they had kids. They abandoned their kids to fight over a meal. Temporarily in the moment went to abandon their kids to go fight over a meal. The kids were traumatized. So sad. Then outsiders who were unaffiliated with Timberwood took advantage of the opportunity to start shooting and killing some of the cult members who were fighting. What a shame. The author would never condone anything like this, but I'm just illustrating and exposing the manipulation of the mind controlled, crazy behavior that happens or could happen in cults. I'm pretty sure that the leaders and some of the members do witchcraft to achieve all this madness. The power-hungry Timberwood cult leaders wanted the conference to continue and go on as usual. That Saturday, everyone's plans were ruined. Plans to either have a party at home or sneak off to the beach in Pensacola. Mr. Earl Price Sr. called for a mandatory meeting at 11 a.m. sharp at the exact same area where the fight happened. And he did roll call. He gave us a 4-hour lecture with no break. None of us were allowed to ask to use the restroom either. He was furious. Many people were crying. Most of us had nothing to do with the crazy ghetto fighting. He told everyone off. That Sunday, May 30th, the members weren't allowed to go to church if they wanted to. The day was spent by the leaders forcing everyone to stay inside of their hotel rooms, and some of them coming to our rooms to whip us with an old-fashioned switch. People of all ages, more like 2 and up, got whipped with the switch, and we weren't allowed to defend ourselves or fight back. All because of what happened that Friday night. Stuff that we had nothing to do with. Everyone was treated like a child and whipped or beaten the old-fashioned way. And we were forced to stay in our hotel rooms for the entire day. And if we wanted to eat, we had to order through Uber Eats, DoorDash, Waiter, Grubhub, Postmates, Instacart, Domino's, Jimmy John's, etc. And the same was for Memorial Day. Everyone forced to stay in their hotel rooms like children and order food. That Tuesday, June 1st, 2021, instead of a workshop or conference, everyone had to still go to the convention center. The workshop consisted of everyone sitting in a big ballroom, quiet, and being issued pen and paper. We all had to write an essay and keep writing for 8 hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We people who were old enough were forced to write for 8 hours what lesson we learned from Friday night. Plus, the leaders forced us to sign non-disclosure agreements. And they threatened us and dared us to go to the news, the media, lawyers, police, etc. And they wanted to make sure this whole conference situation, anything negative, was covered up and swept under the rug. Then we see Timberwood plastered all over the TV news, online, and in the newspaper how great the conference was, and only talked about the positive stuff, and anything to make Timberwood look good. At the same time, still trying to recruit even more members, aka more souls to damn to hell. Ooh, I'm almost done. Only the kids under 18 were allowed to have a lunch break for 30 minutes. Then back to more writing for the ones old enough, kids from 3rd grade on up. On Wednesday, June 2nd, everyone had to check out of the hotel by 11 a.m. and everyone was glad to go back home. I, Nola Borderline, had nowhere else to go. So my crazy ass went back to Pensacola, Florida, where I was before the conference, to go sleep on the streets where the cops don't bother you for being downtown. It wasn't until after I got back to Pensacola that I, as a Christian Bible believer, realized that I got suckered into a cult and was still being gang stalked. More like waking up out of a nightmare. How could I have been so blind? Christina called me up and told me that she thinks Timberwood is a weird cult and she didn't care. She declared that she and her children are no longer members. Her husband, Theron, didn't want to leave. The end. I got through reading that. So I'm going to do the other 3 short stories on a different video after this one. So thanks for listening. I guess if people got offended, I apologize if anybody got offended or took me the wrong way, because, I mean, cults are offensive. What can I say? So, thanks for listening. And if you thought this was good work or a good story, you can donate if you want to. And I don't know if I should do the other stories separately or do all 3 of them together. So, but thanks for listening to me, and I love y'all and see y'all.